Hi, fans of high quality entertainment. I am with Robert Lawson again. I think we had an interview a few years back, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done so many live chats. But anyway, he has written a excellent book on the Guess Who, and it's called Wheatfield Empire. I did read it and really enjoyed it. And he's also written some other books. And so just we'll start off with showing all of the books that you have written.
So we have my first book from a few years ago, Rasmus Naz.
Yeah.
All about the great 70s Scottish band Nazareth.
Yep.
Still Competition, about Cheap Trick.
Yep.
And then the Guess Who book, of course. And my most recent book was Stevie Van Zandt from Sopranos and E Street Band.
Yeah. 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 I saw that picture of you with him. That was pretty cool.
That might have been when I gave him his copy of the book. We were backstage at a Springsteen show, so I could officially give him his copy.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah. And are you working on another book right now?
No, I think I'm retired. Yeah.
Darn it. Yeah. Just speaking of Nazareth for a second, I think they were a pretty underrated band. I always felt Manny Charlton was such an underrated guitarist.
Great band. I mean, they're one of their biggest markets in the 70s was Canada. So we heard them on the radio a lot up here.
Yeah.
Just a big part of kind of my childhood growing up in the 70s was just hearing lots of Nazareth on the radio. And of course, they recorded like 4 or 5 of their albums in Canada, and we used to tour Canada a lot. And in fact, when I was writing the book, I would have occasionally people ask me if they were Canadian.
Wow.
Just because they're such a big part of kind of Canadian culture in the 70s.
Just say yes.
Right.
Yeah. And for the Guess Who, I really should have more of their albums. I have Rocking. I mean, I've heard most of them. American Woman, So Long Bannatyne, and Share the Land.
Right.
And I know you, do you want to kind of get into the story of starting the Guess Who book? And at first, Randy Bachman was kind of, I guess going to be helping you a little bit with it or something, or like he okayed it at first, and then he kind of shut you down, or?
Yeah. I pitched the project to both Burton and Randy together backstage at a Burton show in Toronto, where Randy joined him for a few songs, and immediately they both signed on to help with the book. And I'd known Burton previously, so I wasn't. I kind of figured he would go along with it. I didn't know, and I don't really know Randy.
Yeah.
But he agreed immediately,
mm-hmm.
which was great. And then when we were trying to finalize when we could hook up so I could interview him, and he wanted to do it in person. He wanted it to be filmed so that so that he would have a copy of it or whatever. And I agreed to everything. And then eventually, he backed out of it, and he had some bad advice.
Yeah.
From somebody who told him that he should not participate in the book, and gave me some real crappy reasons of why he wouldn't participate, and that was a drag. I really wish that Randy had not listened to somebody who did not have his best interests at heart. I mean, this was somebody who was actually trying to sabotage the book.
Yeah.
This was somebody who phoned me and told me, personally, that I can't write a book about the Guess Who because, various reasons.
Because all of the gossip that's in it, right?
Well, that's the thing. My my original pitch to both Randy and Burton was that the book would be just about the music.
Yeah,
There would be no drama. There would be
Yeah.
no talk about, gossip or infighting or groupies and, all kinds of, stuff on the road or anything. It would be purely a focus on the music. And that pitch didn't change. So for Randy to back out of it, it was unfortunate. I mean, I knew I was going to have to fact check him a lot because in Randy interviews, he kind of plays with the truth quite a bit, and I've been known to call him out on that. But I still would have rather had him just to have his name be part of it. I interviewed most of the surviving members of the Guess Who, and I even talked to Randy's younger brother, Robbie Bachman, a little bit, who has since passed on. So not having Randy in there doesn't really change the book that much, but it just would have been nice for him to take me at my word that it was going to be a respectful book. It was going to honor their musical legacy, and really there's no reason for him not to be a part of it. So that was unfortunate that he listened to somebody who lied to him, and he believed that person instead of believing me, who was telling the truth. And I don't know if he's seen the book since.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Yeah,
I kind of doubt it, but there's nothing in there that would keep him from participating. And like I said, pretty much all the other guys participated, and Burton has said a lot of really positive things about the book.
Yeah,
a lot of people really like it, so that's unfortunate, but that's Randy.
Yeah. So can you describe the book just a little bit for people interested in it?
So it's like a chapter by chapter look at every album, going in depth to the recording sessions, singles that were released, TV appearances. I even talk about some live bootlegs. And then there's a separate chapter of Randy's solo stuff. There's a separate chapter of Burton's solo stuff. And it's really, if you want to read up on any Guess Who album, I tried to make it that each chapter, that's like your go-to. That's it's like the ultimate Wikipedia page or something. And I've got quotes in there from Burton and Donnie McDougall and Bill Wallace and Gary Peterson and all these guys talking about the albums. But really going in depth for every song, every single, like say TV appearances, radio broadcasts, anything that you could want to know about every single album.
Yeah. There's something to do with Randy Bachman and where I live here in Trenton, Ontario. I'm not sure if you're aware of, like, you know about it, but there was a local band here called Noah, and Randy Bachman produced the album, and he plays lead guitar in most of the songs. It's called Peaceman's Farm.
No, I don't know that.
I'll send you I did a video a few years back on it. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And it's a great album. I don't think it's on CD, but it was on vinyl, of course. And we're gonna are you doing a top 10 or top 20?
Top 10.
Top 10. I'm doing top 20 because there's more than American Woman to to the Guess Who. That's the thing about them, as they're pretty well known, of course, but people don't realize that they were a great albums band.
Right. I've maintained for many years that the Guess Who are not the greatest hits band.
Yeah.
They had a lot of hits and then a lot of radio play, but really of their core period, which is like 65 to 75, they did not make a bad album.
Yeah.
Every album has a couple of hits, then it'll have maybe one or two kind of weird experimental kind of songs, and then it'll have other stuff that's just really, really great. You can't go wrong with almost any Guess Who album. And if you only know them from the hits, which is great, but then you don't really know the whole story. So that most of the 10 songs that I picked are a little deeper kind of cuts that I encourage.
That's why I wanted to do 20 to get some of the deeper cuts in there too. Yeah.
But for people who subscribe to Spotify, there is a Wheatfield Empire playlist and you can go on there. It's about 3 hours long or so. There are a couple of songs by some of Randy's side projects that have since been removed from Spotify, so those aren't on there anymore. But it's a good listening experience to go along with reading the book, because I did program it in a way that there's a lot of the deeper cuts that people maybe haven't heard as much because they didn't get radio play. But it's great stuff. I mean, their albums are just as good as anything that anyone's ever put out.
Yeah. And then, they were pretty involved in television, from the early years with the Guess Who. And then Burton Cummings in his solo career, maybe, of course, people in Canada, probably most people know, but I wonder, do you know how many of those TV specials he made?
There's like 4 of them, I think.
Yeah. And they were pretty good, actually, for for the day. He's so talented, and also, he could be funny, right?
Sure, yeah, sure. I mean, he's a smart guy. He's a funny guy. I really go back and forth on whether I like Burton Cummings' solo stuff maybe more than I like the Guess Who. They're pretty equal for me. His third album, Dream of the Child, was the first album in Canada to go triple platinum.
Yeah.
So he had some big hits on his own once the Guess Who broke up in '75. And he was on TV a lot. He hosted the Junos one year. He did these TV specials. I think the first one is Portage in Maine. And if you have a chance, it used to be on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just great. I mean, like little skits, but also musical numbers. And he really is kind of an all-around entertainer.
Yeah.
But I love his solo stuff, so much so that actually when I started the book, I really thought it was going to be a 2-part thing, where one volume would be just the Guess Who, and one volume was going to be just on Burton solo stuff. But then I realized they're just too intertwined. You can't really separate them. When you have these Guess Who reunions, and then he's solo, and Randy Bachman appears on a Burton album, and Burton appears on his album, and Gary Peterson is in BTO, and it just made more sense to have it all as one volume. But originally, I was going to do a separate Burton Cummings book.
Yeah. And so, what do you think of the Guess Who reunion that's going to be on tour this year?
Well, the first date is actually tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're playing Fallsview Casino in Niagara Falls. It's interesting. I mean, they fought for the name. They wanted the name back for like a long time. I know you've talked about this on previous episodes, that both Burton Cummings and Randy Bachman did not own the name to the Guess Who. So now they have it again. And they're doing this tour is kind of celebrating the legacy of the Guess Who, which is pretty interesting, because for decades they did not own the name. They couldn't tour as the Guess Who. So that's pretty big change.
Yeah. I did notice on their Spotify, it used to really bug me in the past when the other, the fake band, you go to Spotify and it would be pictures of these. I mean, there was one original member, right? The drummer, Gary Peterson. But the thing I noticed just going on Spotify yesterday is there's still one of those, the fake band albums in there. I'm surprised it's still there, but.
Yeah, that was definitely an issue that on their social media.
Yeah.
You go to like the official Guess Who Instagram account or Twitter account or anything, and it would be pictures of this, what we call the fake Guess Who. Yeah. And they would even be like celebrating, it would be like the anniversary of the American Woman album. And they would post like, oh, remember when this came out?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. Do you? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
One of the biggest things that I thought was really offside, and I know Burton really hates this, is that fans, especially in the States, the fake Guess Who would rarely play Canada. I don't think they could get away with it up here, but they would play like state fairs in the United States. And fans, I don't know if fans knew the difference, but fans would approach them with classic Guess Who albums to sign, and these guys would sign it.
Yeah.
And there's none of those, except for Gary Peterson, who didn't always tour with the fake Guess Who. There was a whole year, I don't know, it was 2023 or something. There was a whole year he did not tour with them. they had a replacement drummer. So no original members, or no members from the original era. And they're signing copies of Share the Land and American Woman, like, that none of them appear on. And I think that that's not cool.
Yeah. So do you don't feel sorry for this band at all? What happened to them? Or because they were talent, not as talented as some bands, but I mean they did have some talent. But it's just maddening that they would go out as the Guess Who.
Well, and they would use real Guess Who recordings on their TV commercials and on radio commercials to advertise their shows.
Yeah.
So you'd see like an ad literally on like Facebook or on TV, and it would be a clip of like Burton and Randy and Jim Cale, or later lineups with Bill Wallace and Donnie McDougall. Yeah. You'd see footage of them and say, coming tonight, the Guess Who playing all their hits, and none of those guys are going to be there tonight. Yeah. So that was really misleading as well. Yeah. It got real muddy, but it's resolved now. Yeah. And Burton and Randy co-own the name, and that's a good thing. I don't really feel bad for, there was a YouTube interview with the lead vocalist a couple years ago, and his point was, hey, I've been in the band longer than Burton was in the band. So I'm like, so what? What is you're not on any of those albums. That doesn't mean anything.
You didn't write all those songs.
No. So I thought that was a pretty offensive thing for him to try to claim that he is just as much right to say that he's the lead vocalist of the band just because he's been fronting this tribute band for longer than Burton was in the real band. Like, it's really kind of messing with the facts there. Yeah. I do feel a little sorry maybe for Gary Peterson. I think Gary's a good guy. Yeah. I interviewed him for my book, so I know him a little bit. I think he was really misled in a lot of ways with the fake Guess Who, and he was definitely not in total control of some of the financial decisions that were being made. So I do feel for him, and as an original member of the Guess Who, I'm always going to have a certain level of respect for him that I don't for these other guys who are prancing on stage and saying that. I mean, these guys aren't even from Winnipeg. Never mind not being on the original album. So
and with the tour starting up and all that, I was thinking, I wonder if I actually did write to. Maybe it was the wrong place to write, but I would love to interview Burton Cummings, to promote the tour. Do you think there's any way to kind of contact his team or anything? Or
well, there's definitely ways to contact them.
Yeah.
I mean, they are promoting it a lot. Both Randy and Burton recently did a CBC.
Well, if I get him on my channel, I'll include you in it if you like.
Well, see,
because you're the Guess Who expert, or maybe I'll get Randy Bachman and you can show the book to him.
I don't think Randy's going to want to be on anything with me, but maybe I'm hoping to have a chance to talk to Randy this year.
Yeah,
and, maybe smooth things over. He might not remember. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember reading recently. It's from the past though, that he was saying that he helped to write Share the Land, and Burton Cummings was saying, no, he didn't. When they were kind of fighting back and forth.
Yeah, that was something Randy said in one of his books that was really, really odd. But I'm not going to begrudge a guy who's I think he turns 80 or 81 this year. So he's allowed to have a less than perfect memory. Burton's memory is very good.
Yeah, and he loves music so much. His Facebook page and. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna give you. Well, I'll give you my favorite Guess Who songs from 20 to 11.
Okay,
and then you can criticize me. Okay, number 20, when the band was singing "Shaking All Over," the remake they did. Number 19, "Dancing Fool." Number 18. Humpty's Blues. I love the ending of that when Burden screams, and they call me Humpty Mix. I love that. Number 17, Orly.
Mm-hmm.
Number 16, Clap for the Wolfman. Don't laugh. Number 15, Broken. Number 14, Sour Sweet. Number 13, Hand Me Down World. Number 12, I think, is one of their most underrated songs, but it's a little crazy. Going a Little Crazy.
Mm.
That's got some jazz in it, and Gary Peterson's drums are just, he was such a great drummer, right? Like,
Yeah.
And then number 11, Running Back to Saskatoon.
Right. Some solid picks.
Okay. Now give us your top 10.
So, like I said, I tried to pick a few things that maybe people haven't heard, especially if you only have a Guess Who Greatest Hits or a compilation CD. So my earliest one is I Found Her in a Star, which is a really beautiful Burton Cummings. It's almost like a poem just set to music. And it's got a great kind of fuzzy guitar solo from Randy, which my second pick, and I always mention this one. So the song No Time, which most people are familiar with, they still play it live. I'm sure they're going to play it, on this tour,
Mm-hmm.
but they recorded that song twice.
Yeah.
So the first version of it, which is on the album called Canned Wheat, is not the hit version. That's not the one that was played on radio and that everyone kind of knows. So if you listen to the original version of No Time, I think it's one of Randy's greatest guitar solos.
Oh,
It's completely wild. It's crazy feedback. It's just noisy. It's just amazing. I love that guitar solo. And then when they re-recorded it, they cleaned it up so it could, I guess, get more airplay, and it worked because it was a big hit for them. But that earlier take, one of my favorite guitar solos of Randy. It really shows how crazy he could be. He likes to say that he's this mild mannered kind of guy, and that is his image. But on that song, he's like Jimi Hendrix or something. He's
cool.
He really goes for the throat. So check out that early version of No Time.
I have heard it, but it's been a long time, so I'll check it out again. Yeah.
Proper Stranger off the American Woman album. That's one of my kind of favorite Burton lead vocals because he sounds really kind of mean and almost threatening, which is, just not usually his persona. Usually he's just like the rock guy or the sensitive rock guy doing ballads. And this one, he sounds actually menacing. So that's a great kind of sound for Burton. On the other side of that, She Might Have Been a Nice Girl, which is a beautiful duet between Burton and one of the guitar players who replaced Randy, Greg Lescue.
Yep.
And the way that their harmonies match up, it's fantastic. I think they tried an earlier version where Burton did the lead vocal and the harmonies, but the version on the album, which is on So Long Valentine, just great. Greg Lescue wasn't a super strong lead vocalist, but the harmonies that he does on that song are beautiful.
Yeah.
Another great one with the vocals is Smoke Big Factory off
From
Rockin'.
Yeah.
So the whole band does these swelling harmonies on that one. I love to hear, Gary sing along with Burton and that kind of thing. The Watcher off Artificial Paradise, mostly written by the bassist, Bill Wallace, who's a friend of mine. Just gorgeous. And they're playing some different instruments on that one, so it's got this real regal kind of majestic sound to it. Cardboard Empire from number 10, which is where I got half the title of my book. Cardboard Empire is great because Kurt Winter, who replaced Randy, does this guitar solo that's like triple tracked. So he did it 3 times and they overdubbed it together. It's really something to listen to. I think Kurt was just a phenomenal guitar player and songwriter. So he's definitely the right guy to replace Randy.
Yeah. And number 10, I believe, is Burton Cummings' favorite Guess Who album, right?
Yeah. He has said that. And with good reason. I mean, it's a great album. I mean, they all are. I'm a little partial to So Long Valentine maybe, but I like them all.
Yeah.
Pleasing for a Reason off Road Food is a great one because you get to hear Donnie McDougall, who's the second guitarist, and then the next kind of like lineup.
Yep.
He does a lot of vocals with Burton on that one, and Donnie's got a great voice. He's one of kind of like the secret weapons of that era of the Guess Who. You know, Kurt is this like big, bold, you know, guitar guy, and then Donnie's a little more sedated. He sings some of the ballads and stuff. So it's great to hear him on that.
Yep.
From Flavors, Nobody Knows His Name, which is a really great Burton Cummings lead vocal, and it's about like his family history, grandparents coming over from Ireland and stuff like that. But it's that's one that definitely does not get played too often, and a real special song that hardly anybody knows off Power in the Music. It's a ballad called Dreams, and this is almost like a precursor to his big solo hit I'm Scared. When you hear Dreams, you can kind of hear some of the sounds of I'm Scared coming together. It's just this gorgeous, beautiful ballad that it's just kind of like lost to time. You know, it wasn't released as a single, I don't think. Probably never performed live. I don't know off the top of my head if it was. So a really kind of unknown tune, but it's amazing. And Burton does this really neat creative thing where he's singing the vocal in one channel and he's whispering it in the other.
Oh, cool.
So you have these two voices of him, and it's just amazing. It's really, especially for people who like his solo stuff and stuff like I'm Scared and Stand Tall and some of those big ballads that he had as a solo, even like Sour Sweet. You know, Burton is like a master of these great ballads. Dreams is like absolutely one of the best, and I really recommend anyone who's a fan of Burton solo stuff or his stuff with the Guess Who, you gotta check out the song Dreams.
Yeah, cool. All right, my top 10. Number 10, Albert Flasher. Number 9, they're basically all the Guess Who hits. Number 9, Star Baby. Number 8, No Sugar Tonight, New Mother Nature. Number 7, High Rockers from Rockin'. I love that.
Really?
Yeah. Don't you want me? Don't you want me? Yeah. Number 6, Hang On to Your Life. If you love heavy rock, the Guess Who did heavy rock. So Hang On to Your Life. Number 5, No Time, the second version, but I'll check out the first version again. Number 4, Share the Land. Number 3 is another really heavy rock track. It could almost be number 1 for me. Heartbroken Bopper.
Right. Yeah, some great guitar on that.
If you love heavy guitar, check out that song. Number 2, These Eyes. I know number 1's going to be a big surprise. It's American Woman.
Well, all good picks. All good picks.
Yeah.
I think Heartbroken Bopper is one that I almost mentioned just because of the guitar work on that. That also shows Greg Lescue and Kurt Winter just battling it out.
Yeah.
That's really, I would really recommend that one as well for people who want to hear great guitar, heavy guitar on a Guess Who record.
Yeah. I actually saw footage of American Bandstand, you know, and they're dancing, and they played Heartbroken Bopper and they're dancing to it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. So I'll have a link. I'll have a link for all of your books if you can provide me a link for all of them. And you've got a YouTube channel, which I noticed you don't upload to very much, not as much as I do.
Yeah, I got to get on that.
Yeah, you really should. Yeah, and interview Burton Cummings, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a little bit, so maybe.
Yeah. And so do you think Randy and Burton, of course you don't know, but I hope they're kind of getting along better these days. It seems like it, right? Yeah.
I think they're in a comfortable place in their relationship. I mean, it's not, they don't hang out socially really or anything like that, but as guys who have the incredible legacy that they do, it makes sense for them to work together. And they still do stuff separately. Obviously, Burton put out a new album just like a year ago or so. So, you know, I think they're just, their careers and their lives are intertwined in a way that they couldn't really be apart, even if they really wanted to. Like they're just kind of joined at the hip, professionally at least.
Yeah. And they have a connection with the Beatles because they both, at separate times, played with Ringo Starr's All Stars, which, pretty impressive, right?
Well, there's a famous story. I was just reminded by just the other night. My friend Josh reminded me that there's a famous story that the Beatles landed in Winnipeg, and they didn't get off the plane. They were just like refueling or something. So there's all these young fans at the Winnipeg airport just cheering and hoping that they might get a glimpse of the Beatles. And one crazy guy actually like jumped the fence and ran towards the plane to try to, I don't know if he was going to like run up the stairs, and I think he got to the stairs actually, and to try to meet the Beatles. And that was a guy by the name of Bruce Decker, who was in the Guess Who for a little while. He was from Burton's pre-Guess Who band, the Deverons, and then he did tour with them as a second guitarist for one summer. So that's a real Guess Who Beatles connection, that a member of the Guess Who actually charged the plane.
Yeah.
They call it the Decker Dash.
Yeah.
That this kid, Bruce Decker, ran up to the plane.
Yeah. It's cool. So before we go, is there anything else about the Guess Who book you would like, or any of your books, like maybe promote each one a little bit here?
Well, they're all similar formats.
Yeah.
I look at the albums really closely. The Steve Van Zandt book is a little bit more biography. Not that I have too much about his like personal life and stuff. I still stick to the music, but I just cover some other things. And for that book, I had the most input from my subject matter.
Yeah.
In that I had 2 really lengthy interviews with Steven himself. And then I interviewed like over 20 or 25 current and like ex-band members of his, people who played with him currently and people who were in his earlier bands. So I had a lot of input with that one. So that's really great. And that one covers a lot of stuff that's really not in kind of the public consciousness. I think each of my books, I was able to uncover a little bit of something that it's like, if you know everything about Cheap Trick,
yeah,
there's a couple things in the book that were not really publicly known until my book came out. And the same thing with the Nazareth book. All the books really have that. So I really go deep on the research. That's what I love doing, and interviewing people and surprising them. Sometimes Stephen was often pretty surprised at the level of research that I was doing for his book. So, so they all have some information in there that's not really publicly known.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And something else I was going to ask, and then it disappears. I'll ask you later. So thank you very much. Like I said, I'll have a link for whatever if you're interested in any of the books. And the Guess Who book I have read, and I really, really did enjoy it. I love any music books where they talk about the songs or albums, even if I don't agree with their opinion, right? It's somebody else's opinion, right? And I just always find that interesting. So,
well, my goal with the books is really to be, the kind of, I used to read a lot of music books myself, and the ones that I return to the most are the ones that would force me to go back and listen to the music.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think so that's kind of the design of these books, that you're going to be reading them, and then you're going to come across something and go, wait, I don't think that's true, or does he really say that at the beginning of that song, or is that? And it makes you go back and listen to the music and maybe refamiliarize yourself with something that you may have forgotten or you may have missed on earlier listening. So that's really the design of the books, that they accompany the catalog.
Yeah. And when that book came out, was Bunny Carlo still in the band?
No, but I did talk to him a bit and he's kind of like the unofficial band historian. Like, he knows more about what happened with Cheap Trick than the other guys, and he'll give serious answers too. The other guys like to joke around, and it's hard to, almost any Cheap Trick interview, they'll just say anything to try to be funny. and it's a little harder to get the real information out of them. But I did talk to Bun, and he was a lot of help. He clarified a couple things when I was saying that there's some things that weren't really in the public knowledge. There was one thing in particular that I kind of came across, and so I confirmed it with him, and he was like, "Oh, somebody finally figured that out."
Yeah, it's too bad he's not in the band anymore. Do you know if they kind of still speak to each other at all, or is that kind of done?
I don't know if they do. I mean, from a business standpoint, he is still a part of Cheap Trick. He still gets an amount of royalties and stuff like that. He also has his own kind of YouTube channel called Bunny's Basement Bootlegs, where like every week he posts the audio from like a different show from his archives, because he has this massive collection of like Cheap Trick board tapes and soundboard recordings and radio broadcasts and bootlegs and stuff. So he's still kind of active on that part, but no, he hasn't been on like the last 5 studio albums or so.
Yeah. And what do you think of Cheap Trick's later albums without him?
I like them a lot. They're kind of interchangeable.
Yeah.
They've been working with the same producer now on all of those albums. They're really loud, noisy, kind of, they sound like they're recorded in a garage. It's really kind of like bringing them back to almost like a 70s punk rock sound or something. A lot of buzzing amplifiers, and you can hear the strings scrape. I like that sound. I like my Cheap Trick noisy and loud and kind of punky. So they're good albums.
One of the best debut albums is that first Cheap Trick album.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. If I had to pick a favorite Cheap Trick album, the self-titled from 1977 is amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much, Robert. I hope people check out the links that I'll have in the pinned comment below.
Great. Hey, I hope they do. For people who live in the States, it's probably cheaper to just order the books off Amazon.
Yeah.
Currently, with the tariffs, it's insane to ship even just one book to the States.
Let's talk about politics for a second. I'm just joking.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in Canada, I have copies of most of the books, so I can ship direct to anybody in Canada, or really anybody anywhere. Just shipping to the States right now is really prohibitive. I had a fellow in New Jersey who wanted my Nazareth book recently, and we just couldn't do it because the shipping, it's like the shipping was $25, and then the tariff on top of it was going to be like another 25. And I was just like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's too bad. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Robert.
Hey, thanks for having me, Larry.
You're welcome. Okay. Bye-bye.